Hello. Hope you've had a good weekend, and I hope you've had a good start to the week. The end of the week. Never mind. Good start to the week. I always have, when I sit down, all these things in my mind, like, oh, this would be a nice thing to talk about. But then I sit down, like, oh, you know what? I'd rather just sit and meditate. Hey, Nicole, nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. And I wonder about these numbers on YouTube. It's so bizarre how they keep fluctuating. All of a sudden now there's no one here, but then, yeah, I think there's someone here at least, because there's some people and then another one show. So I hope someone's hearing me, and I hope you've had a good weekend and that you've been able to enjoy and really see. Hey, Catherine, nice to see you. That's a long time ago. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I have a bit of pain in my neck and muscles. I've been working out, and it's so interesting, because if you go into the spiritual sphere, there's a lot of thought that this world is not important, the body is not important, and so we should just focus on our mind. And there is a part of that I agree with. How you relate to the world is more important than how fit you are or how much money you have and all of those things. But one thing that we miss is that we still live in this world. We still have jobs we need to go to. We still need to breathe. I'm usually here, but I haven't been communicating. Oh, nice to hear that. We still need to eat food. We still need to function, and we need to get up of bed. We need to go to bed. We need to live with the aches and pains that we have, and some of us have more than others. And when you're young, you have very few and you don't think about it. But then when you get older, you start having more aches and pains, and it becomes more relevant that we feel good. And I think it's a big mistake to think that that's not important, that you can go on and live life despite that, which absolutely you can. But it's just that you need to be at a certain I don't want to say level, but you need to be able to handle that. And it is one thing to sit and say, like, oh, I don't care about my body, it's fine, like I just focus on being present, and that's everything else is relevant. I just have I found out just a few days ago, a close friend of mine who's a bit older. Hey, Amelie, nice to see you. A close friend of mine I think she's 75. She just found out she has cancer. And something had been going on for a while, and we knew about that something was there, but we didn't know how serious it was. And then she got the diagnosis, and then all of a sudden she was in the hospital, and she took out parts of her body to try to combat the cancer. And she's just saying, like, I'm just in shock. I don't know, and like I haven't been able to talk to her. I think she's quite heavily drugged to deal with the pain and all the medication that she's getting. So her life turned from just enjoying life, having a good time, cooking food and being a pensioner, and just all of a sudden, like, you just flip that, and now she doesn't know how long she's going to live. And that is a tough point in life when you're there. And so it's very easy to say that, oh, I don't care about those things, and I don't have to focus on those things because it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get reborn anyway, so I don't care about those things. And I think if you have the approach that we have here, that why are we doing all of this? Why are you practicing? I mean, just to have cool experiences. Well, just go out and take drugs and you also have cool experiences. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. It's bad. But it's kind of the same thing. Cool experiences you can get through meditation, but so what? Like, they come and they go and then they're over. And that's kind of it. And after they're over, then they've lost the thing that they gave you. So we want to change something permanent. But what is it that we want to do? Why are we doing all of this? Because it is a lot of work. I mean, I've spent the last, how long is it? 2007, I left Sweden. There's almost 20 years that I've been really heavily into this. And I was ordained 2009, I think, if I remember correctly. And I've spent every single day since then thinking about this stuff. So it's just like a side hobby or something. I just do a little bit on the side, something I dedicate my life to. But why? Why do I feel that it's worth to make this into my biggest the biggest focus of my life, in many ways even bigger than my family and myself and everything, is this. Well, the reason I do that is because I want to enjoy being alive. I want this life to, not to mean something, but to be enjoyable. I want it to be fun to be here. I want to be able to sit here, have this conversation with everyone who's out there and feel it's nice to be here. Not sitting here having this conversation and thinking, oh, I wish I had done that thing, or I'm thinking about that. Tomorrow I need to think about the thing I'm going to do at work, and then the kids are going to be annoying at the morning when they wake up. Oh, I have this pain here because my son hit me in my throat. Like, oh, did he hurt something here? Because it hurts a little bit when I talk. All those thoughts running around. Or I might be thinking, oh, I need to come across in a certain way. I need to have more people come and watch my YouTube. Like, all these things are irrelevant for the enjoyment of being here. And at the same time, if you don't have your health, if you don't have enough money to have a roof over your head and get food, then it's just more difficult to do that. Because if you don't have enough money to get food and to have shelter over your head, all you're going to worry about is just having somewhere to live. And the stress from that is going to make it difficult to enjoy being here. It's not impossible. It's just, why make it more difficult? And at the same time, even if you could enjoy that, why not have a nice meal, a nice place to live? There's nothing that means that, oh, you don't need to care about that. It just means that that is not something you need to enjoy being here. And for me lately, a lot has had to do with physical health and being healthy, because as you know, I've had the problem with my neck. I mean, those who have watched the channel for a while, I've had a lot of neck problems, which means that I sleep extremely poorly, and I can have like several nights where I sleep like 3-4 hours per night, and it just knocks me out. So I've had a period now this summer when I've been feeling better, and I thought, oh, I'm going to start getting in shape. So I've been starting to lift weights, and I've started to like lose weight and really think about what I ate. And I currently eat something called OMAD, 1 meal a day, which is quite similar to when I was a monk, and I ate breakfast around 7 to 8 and lunch around 11. So I just ate for 3 to 4 hours. 4 hours. And it seems like much of the problems I've had comes from inflammation, and now I just have less of that. When I have less inflammation, I have more energy. I still have problems sleeping because the neck is there, but the inflammation makes everything better. And so I'm able to sleep better, so I'm able to have more energy during the day, which means that it's easier to enjoy being here. It's easier to enjoy being alive. I can sit here and just feel more relaxed because I don't have pain everywhere all the time. The pain doesn't magically go away, but having a body that is just functioning better, and I can feel that my body just functions better, it is more enjoyable. So if we look at why we do this practice and we think, okay, cool experiences, sure, they're fun, but they come and they go. But ultimately, why you do all that you do is very likely because you want to enjoy being alive. You want to have fun when you're here. Why not? Like, what's the point of coming here and just being grumpy with everyone, or going in here suffering about how unfair the world is and how dumb it is? And like, I mean, there's a lot of unfairness and a lot of dumb stuff going on. But learning to enjoy being here and then just doing the best you can with what you have. I don't have super genetics, and I don't have super wealthy parents, unfortunately, who could give me lots of money. I would be very happy if I did. I mean, that would be awesome. But we have what we have, so we work with what we have, and then from the body I have and the physical problems that I have, then I have to work around that. So I tried lifting weights, and it turned out when I lift weights as much as, because I'm quite strong, but I can't use my strength because then my neck, my spine can't take the weight, and the muscles kind of pull on the spine and it hurts too much. So I have to adjust. And there's a giving up of the idea that, oh, I can't do what I actually want to do. But then you work with what you do, and then you make it better, and you get stronger, and then it just gets easier. And it's the same with your practice. If you go in and you immediately start pulling out the darkest, deepest stuff, and you want to go in there and just feel how terrible you are as a person and all the bad things that you've done and felt, and you go in there and you feel all this shadow work. I had a conversation with a client just last week, and I was telling him, because we were discussing this, and he's like, well, I can't just sit and focus on fun stuff. I have all this bad stuff. And I said, yeah, but imagine you're in a relationship If you're a woman, man, woman, or man, whatever, your partner, and all you do in that relationship is you focus on the bad crap. Like the only thing you do is just look at the shadow stuff that he or she brings up in you, all the gory, difficult things. That's what you focus on. What kind of relationship would that be? Like, no one would stay in that. That would suck as a relationship. Yet there are some spiritual people who believe that's what a good relationship should be, because they mirror this stuff in me so that it comes out, and I hate being with him or her, but it's so good for me. And it's probably not a healthy relationship. What about you and your relationship to you? How much focus do we put on the bad shit in our lives? And how much focus do we put on enjoying our lives? There is such an overemphasis on the bad stuff. And it's just so natural for us because it's there. But what we don't understand is we can focus on this also. It's just all of society tells us, no, you cannot. Because you first have to get rid of this. Otherwise, you can't enjoy being here. And there's this... Hey, Mindful Mama, nice to see you. There's this completely weird perspective where we just focus on the negative stuff, and we cannot allow ourselves to feel positive, because it's almost like we punish ourselves. Like we need to feel bad. Like you deserve to feel bad, it feels like. And we can't allow ourselves to feel this goodness because, well, I need to look at this bad part and take that away first, or I did this in my past, and maybe past lifetime, you believe. So really looking into this, first of all, why you're doing this, and if that is because you actually want to enjoy this life, because it's pretty awesome to be alive, but it's so easy to get so caught up in all the negative stuff and just look at that, and then completely miss, hey, it's fun to be alive. And it's not as simple as, oh, just shift your focus. There's a lot of processes and things that go into that, but I can promise you, if you have a body that you take care of and where you feel healthy, it's going to be a lot easier to do this stuff. If you have a life where you have enough money to have a shelter over your head and to have food, you don't need to have $1 billion, like just enough to survive. It's going to be easier doing this. If you have a partner who you actually enjoy being with, and you respect as a person, who you find interesting as a partner to talk to, this stuff is going to be easier. We don't need to just make it all about the practice. It's also important to think about what our life is like. But the problem is that people go into personal development and all the whole getting rich and like fake it till you make it and working so hard on that they believe that's the important thing. So it's not excluding one or the other. Really just focus on enjoying life, but at the same time focus on making life better. Like you don't, just because you're focusing on enjoying no matter what your life circumstances are, doesn't mean you can't can't make your life better. See, Nicole, I really appreciate how you focus on being happy in life. This seems so obvious to me, but trust me, I've been to so many centers where I say stuff like this and they go like, no, you cannot be attached to anything in life. You can't be attached. That's attachment. Oh, he's not a Buddhist monk. I mean, he's not spiritual enough. He's missing something, because if you like something, you're attached to it. Like, no. If you're attached to it, if you have distortions towards it, then you have a problem. But if you just enjoy it being there, there doesn't need to be any distortions in that. See, Amelie is saying, you made me realize how much I focus on the bad things and how much good there is in life. Absolutely. It's really bizarre how good we are at focusing on the bad stuff. And I think society as a whole wants us to focus on the bad stuff. Just look at the news. I stopped watching the news a long time ago, after September 11th, actually. I've watched the news, and I remember I had a meditation course, and I sat down and I watched the Swedish news, and I was going to time how much of the 10 minutes were focused on positive stuff and how much was focused on negative stuff. And it was quite literally 9 minutes and 30 seconds bad stuff happening. 30 seconds, oh, you know what? There's a happy news about a small company who had done something. That's it. Like 9.5 minute bad stuff, half a minute. Well, that's kind of a feel-good story there. Why? if you look around you, if you look around society where you live, if I look around where I live here, it's the majority of stuff is positive. Sure, there's lots of people going through difficult things. People are sick, people are ill, people who have cancer, like my friend, and people who lost their jobs, people who are in a divorce or going through very difficult situations. There's a lot of bad stuff happening. But if you think about all the good things, of all the smiles from children, of their parents, and people coming home to their families and having a good time, or kids bringing home paintings, or moments where we smile at our cats or pets. Today I picked up my son with my daughter. We were biked over there, and I picked up my son from daycare, and we went to the playground and we played with the other kids, and they were playing, and one of the parents had pepparkakor, gingerbreads, and they were eating that, having a good time. And then on the way home, one of our friends in the village, they had baby kittens. They were a week and a half old. Look, this tiny, so cute. So we came in. They were just like knocked on the door. Hello, can we see the kitties? And we're like, yeah, come in. And we came in, and she's very friendly, this woman. And we just picked up the kitties, and my son, he's like 3, and he just like looked at them like this. And he was so completely mesmerized by the little kitties. Then my daughter also liked them. And then we had talk, and my daughter is so funny. She just talks to everyone. Just blah, 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 blah. It was fun. I could focus on the bad stuff, but there is so much fun happening. Why are we so obsessed with this bad stuff? It's a much gooder life. Nicole Bray, it's true. It's absent in spirituality a lot. I think it has to do with, a lot of it is because of Buddhism, because of the non-attachment. And when I say enjoy life, I don't really mean enjoy the good things in your life. By all means do that. Don't stop feeling good about the good things in your life. What I'm talking about is the life experience you're having right now. Because if I would tell the story I just did, but from a different perspective, I would say, we went to the playground, and I'm so happy that I have so many friends, and there are some people I know. Actually, I don't have so many friends, but I have friends, and that I have parents that I know, and I have this person who accepts me and allows me into their home, and they had kittens, and I'm so happy that the kittens were alive, and I'm so happy that my children enjoy being with other, or safe enough to be in someone else's home. That would be the story, instead of, oh, we had fun at the playground. We were playing, we were swinging, we were eating cookies. There was a moment where my son wanted to ask, but he was a bit shy. He said, Papa, come with me and ask, because he didn't dare to ask the father. And when we got to the person with the cats, it was the experience of going in, and the smells and the sounds, and her telling me about her children and about things that were going on. They're teenagers. They're very different from when they're young. So instead of focusing on the story, focusing on what's it like right now, like this moment here. Because if you just focus on sitting here now, then story disappears. If I just enjoy being here talking to you, it doesn't matter if I have $1 million in debt. It doesn't matter if I have $1 million in the bank account. That's irrelevant, because for this moment, that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. So really just focusing on what is it like to talk to someone, to hear someone talk back to you and see, like, it's a miracle. It's incredible. You can have a conversation with another person, and they can tell things about themselves, and they can share things, and you hear their life stories. I've always loved talking to elderly people, like really old people in elderly homes. Even since I was like a teenager, I loved elderly people. I lived with an old woman upstairs in her house, and I just loved old people because they've lived life, and I found it so fascinating. I've talked to people who told me about what the Second World War was like, what it was like growing up, having a career, having a family, losing children. It's incredible. And I find that really fascinating to be able to interact with other people. Mindful Mom, I listened to a book, it's actually Swedish, to learn how to see the good instead of searching for the bad. Oh, that's interesting. So I've never felt guilty for not being up to date. There's so much to it. Our brain is wired to seek the bad. Some people focus much more on it than others. I have a neighbor we actually visited the other day who also had cancer. And every time I talk to him, I'm so amazed when people talk about others or about things, they tend to talk about the bad stuff. Like we call it skvaller, gossip. oh, they did this or like this, no, that's so bad in that country, and like I do it myself, I'm guilty of it. This guy, he always says good stuff, even if it's like something that he doesn't really like them. He always sees something good in it, and I'm just amazed how he's always able to see. Like he talks about other countries, like, oh, it's so beautiful with this thing here. I find that amazing. Or like a brand he didn't like with, he worked with lawnmowers, and like a brand he doesn't like. Yeah, but it's really incredible that they give such long warranty. That means they really believe in it. So even if I don't like that brand, that I would still trust them because of that. He always finds something positive in that. So it's just that most of us are wired the other way around. We see negative stuff in other people or in societies, instead of like him just seeing the positive. And I do talk a lot about how it's about enjoying life as an experience. Not life as the story, but life as an experience. And when you do that, you appreciate how nice it is to be alive, meaning the sensations from your senses. It is nice to experience talking, feeling, hearing, tasting. All those things are enjoyable. And the other part is to have, I'm struggling with finding a good way of expressing this, but having goodwill towards others, having a will for others to be happy, even if you hate them, having a non-feeling of wanting to other people, because if you do, that's distortion, and that's where a lot of our distortion comes, towards other people. We believe, oh, they're doing this to me because they want to hurt me. They do, instead of like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know that, I'm just putting that on the experience that I'm having. Instead, like, I know political parties, we feel like they're attacking us, and some people are. I'm not saying they're not. But having the other perspective that, okay, even if I'm wrong here, I don't want to feel this way towards them. And when you stop feeling that way, all of a sudden some of the strong beliefs you have about them might fall away. And like, oh, actually they have a point in what they're saying. I still think they're crazy, but like some of the parts of the stuff they say make sense. And you no longer feel that, and then you can have a discussion with them, and they can feel that, because now you're not going up like two people doing this. No, it's like one person doing this, and it's like, oh, it's like soft. Okay, then yeah, well, I don't need to start hating you. So all of a sudden, you can have a conversation, and the distortion disappears. I do sometimes. I miss big events, and when people talk about it at where I work, I look it up quickly so I know what happened, but I never really know what's going on. Yeah, honestly, I think that's better. I'm trying to look less at those kind of things as well. Nicole, I don't watch the news, so whenever someone says, have you heard about, I just say, I know it's awful. That's pretty much, I think that's a good response to pretty much anything. It's actually been researched, and our brains are mostly wired to see the bad. Oh, interesting. But it's trainable. Negativity bias can be traced back to our evolutionary history. Early humans who were more attuned to potential dangers were more likely to survive and pass on their genes. That makes sense. Consequently, our brains become wired to prioritize negative information to protect us from harm. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. See, Amelie is saying, I've been trying to focus more on moments that make me happy and be really present in them, and I realize I get happy very easily. Like my cat sitting. There you go. And that's the thing, when you start doing that and really focusing on enjoying, it's almost like there's a feeling of, I looked at this yesterday, there's almost a feeling of anxiety moving into happiness. Like when you're trying to enjoy, it's almost like it's uncomfortable to move through, away from the distortion, because I think part of it is the distortion is the self. Like the feeling of you is in the uncomfortable feeling. The self requires conflict, drama, catastrophe, and bad stuff to exist. When there's none of that, the feeling of having a sense of self just drops away. And I don't mean, again, like, oh, I'm so happy I have a car, because then you can have a self, of course. But when you're just enjoying, so just sitting with a cat in your lap and just petting it is really enjoyable. And then you don't feel a strong sense of self. We were out taking a walk in the forest, beautiful walk with the family, like all of us. And I was talking to Mindful Mama. We were saying that I would love to live right down by the ocean, because I grew up right next to the ocean, like literally, like I could see the ocean. And we don't now. So it's something that I like miss. Or living in the middle of the forest with just beautiful, like forest around us and just the calmness. And it's so easy to focus on, we don't live here. We don't have this the whole time. But at the same time, we can just take our car and drive somewhere and take a walk. Sweden has lots of forests, like everywhere. I don't think there's many places, unless you live in big cities, where you can't drive for 15 minutes and get to a big forest. So we have that within reach, but for some reason we need to have it as ours. And instead of being out walking and really enjoying that and feeling that, I can enjoy being here. It's not where we live, but I'm really enjoying being here with the children and seeing them playing. And our daughter was telling stories about the trolls who had become stones. And all of a sudden, like, it was like pizza stone, troll stones, and a troll cat stone. And our son was there also. And then all of a sudden we saw a huggorm, like a snake that's actually one of the only poisonous snake in Sweden. And they climbed and we jumped and we had fun. And it's like just being able to enjoy that without feeling, I wish this was ours. I wish I had this every day. No, you're here now. Enjoy it. Practice the opposite. They're called glimmers, Amelie. That's nice, Amelie. I have a strong negative mind, unfortunately. It's easy to have and it's easy to get caught up in it. It's something that you can train. And the biggest part is that it's a mind shift. It really is getting rid of the idea that something has to happen for you to enjoy life. We're so taught since we were a child, if you do this, then you're a good boy or a good girl. If you have money, then you can allow yourself to be happy. I think that's part of the reason why we have people who are ultra rich, who believe they're ultra smart or ultra emotionally intelligent, or that they understand things just because they were able to make money. That's not the same thing as being intelligent or understanding other people. They were good at making money. That doesn't make them better people than you. That doesn't make them more intelligent than you. That doesn't make them smarter. Doesn't mean that they're better at understanding other people. It just means that they were good at making money in whatever way they did. I'm not saying anything about that. It was the best forest walk. Yeah, it was an amazing forest walk. What was I getting with the being rich? I forgot. I lose my train of thought sometimes. My point is, just be happy. Like, don't believe. Oh yes, don't believe you need to do all these things to allow yourself to be happy. It's okay to feel happy now. It's okay to enjoy life now. I think when people come to meditation centers, that is so much the spirit there to just enjoy being there, that it is easier when you come to a place like this. And then many people think, I need to live here because then I would have that the whole time. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, because people who live there don't feel like that the whole time. I wish it worked, then I'd move there with my family. I have a negative mind as well, Emily's saying, so it's hard for me to be in those moments. But when it makes me happy, it's so much better. And that's the main thing, Emily, what you're saying there, which you need to understand, is that there's a lot of talk about, no mind state is better than the other, and like everything's equal, I shouldn't like have a preference. Like, I want to say F that, seriously. It is so much nicer to be alive and be happy than to be alive and be grumpy or in a bad mood. Like, it's just not a discussion. It's not. If you think otherwise, I'm sorry, but you're dumb. Just try it out. Enjoy life, being happy with being here and just feeling good, or going around being grumpy with everyone, angry and upset with the world that they didn't give you what you wanted. Because obviously it's not your fault you're not happy. It's like someone else's. They took this from me. They should have given me that. I didn't get the chance you did, so that's why I'm not happy. We can always come up with excuses. I could come up with this excuse, my neck is bad, so I should just be grumpy and angry the whole time. I sure as hell have the right to do that, because trust me, it causes me a lot of grief. And I could be upset that, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough, our house is tiny, we don't have a big house, and we still have a family. All these things I could say should be different. But why? You could always come up with that. And I could always take that in relationship to someone living off in some poor country in a village where they have absolutely nothing and they're super happy because they have a pair of shoes. My father actually wrote a book about Africa and he traveled to Africa. He was an artist, and he traveled to Africa when I was a kid, and they lived with the Maasais, and I was there also as a kid, and they brought shoes as currency because the Maasais didn't really use money at that time. Now they do. And they would pay people with shoes because it was like, wow, shoes. That was like amazing for them. So in comparison, you could do that comparison. But again, I'm just saying that as a way for you to see that whatever reason you think you have for not being happy, then, well, compare that to my friend who just found out she had cancer and had to do an emergency operation. And we don't know how serious it is. I was thinking one night, she might not live like for much longer. I have no idea. And when you do think about it like that, then everything else just becomes irrelevant. It's like, well, it doesn't matter, like all that other stuff. At least I don't have anything like that. And I really hope that that's not going to happen, but it's a possibility. And it is for all of us. You can just flip life like that. And then you'll change your perspective. You'll be forced to change your perspective. Why not do that now instead, before something like that happens? I'm going to get better with keeping the schedule because it helps me sleep better. The bright lights keep me up. So for those of you who are new, we usually sit like this and chat for half an hour, and I really enjoy those chats. It helps me think about why I practice. It actually helps my practice quite a lot to have these conversations. And it's helped me a lot to figure out what the channel is going to be about in the future. So I simply haven't had time to sit down and make more videos, but I'm really looking forward to making more videos because I feel like the discussions we've been having and the direction that they've been going is exactly what I want to do with the channel. So it will be quite different from what it was before, and at the same time it will be exactly the same. It will be more like the streams with the videos later on. We chat a bit like this, and then I like the chats as well. I enjoy talking to you. Same, Emily. Then we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is a way to come back to our senses. After that, today is Monday, so we're going to have a guided meditation for 20 minutes. And then after that, we sleep like babies, which is a complete lie because babies don't sleep. Babies just cry and scream the whole night, unless there's something wrong with them. That's what we tell ourselves when our kids were screaming at night. If they would have been quiet, there would probably have been something wrong, so we're happy they're crying. You have to make up some kind of excuse to make you live through it. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is a way of coming back to our senses. And the way we do it is we say out loud 5 things we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. And when we do it, we look for the experience of it. Not that, oh, it's mine, it's good, it's bad, but just how they actually appear to us. So say 5 things out loud on your end, and I'll say it here. I see an office chair, and I look at the shadows, the texture, the curvature, the colors, and how the light hits the surfaces of the chair. And it's really enjoyable to look at that chair. It's a nice chair. Try to really have that feeling of and when you go into some place you've never been to, you're like, whoa, look at that. It's fresh, it's new, it's something nice to look at. I see a plant. I see a Buddha statue. I see a door. And I see a mouse. 5 things I could see. Next we have 4 things that we can feel. I can feel my legs. I can feel my beard. I can feel the beard in my fingers, but I also feel my hands, my fingers on my face. I can feel my brass bell, which is very cool. And I can feel the carpet. Four things I could feel. Next we take 3 things that we can hear. I can hear the fan of my computer. I can hear a car passing by outside. I can hear some kind of ticking in the metal of the office. I think it's the temperature difference making it expand and contract. 3 things I could hear. Next we take 2 things that we can smell. I smell warm furniture. I smell some shampoo. Finally, one thing that we can taste. Tastes a bit of lemon. For this meditation, we'll be using our breath as the anchor that we have to stay aware and present with what happens to us. And at the same time, it's just a tool. There's nothing magical about the breath. We're not trying to hold on to it or change it. This is not breath work. It's simply a way of having something that happens inside of us that we can always have with us, which helps us to be aware of what we're experiencing. Because as we were talking about before, why are you doing all of this? Well, one of the reasons that we're doing breathing meditation in this particular way is that we want to basically do what meditation was designed to do, at least in Buddhism. It was called bhavana, and bhavana means to train the mind. And what we're trying to train the mind to do is to basically be aware of how are you doing right now? What's happening right now? Meaning, what is your level of distortion or your feeling? How are you reacting to the world around you? Because when you start feeling your feelings and not just push them away or throw them out to everyone around you. And by the way, as I'm talking, keep your awareness on the breath and just be aware of breath going in and going out. And use that as your anchor. But when you start becoming aware of breath going in and going out, you will notice that that helps your awareness to stay with the feelings that you have. So rather than just waking up in the morning and feeling like you're in a little bit of a bad mood, and then someone tells you something and you go off on a rant and you start telling them how bad they are, how angry you are at them, how upset you are, then all of a sudden you go, well, that's obviously because they did this to me. I'm feeling this because of them. It's their fault. But if you would have been aware from the moment you woke up, how am I doing right now? You would have seen that very likely there was a low-level, uncomfortable feeling of distortion inside of you going, oh, I just feel a little bit off. I feel a little bit not so good. And then you wake up and that gets even worse and you feel easily irritated. You can't take any sounds. Your mind doesn't function when you start having conversations because you can't really wrap your head around what's being said. And then you lash out. And you blame it on the other person. If you start being aware, seeing that this thing actually didn't start with that other person, you did all of this yourself. It was something happening in you. Then it becomes easier to actually feel those feelings and not just push them onto someone else, but actually start taking responsibility for how I feel. Do you feel guilt about something? Do you feel anger about something? Do you feel jealousy? Do you feel happiness? Do you feel desire? What is it you feel? And really allow yourself to feel that. And not let it control how you're interacting with other people. This is liberation. This is freedom. This is what it's like when you're not being controlled by the dukkha or the distortion or the suffering inside of you, but instead you're choosing how do you want to be? How do you want to act? But to do that, you need to be aware of what's going on inside of you, which is why we're using the breath as our anchor to learn bhavana, practice the mind, train the mind to see how am I doing right now. And not just while you're sitting down doing meditation, but throughout the whole day, every single moment of your day, you can be aware of this. And when you feel that you're going into something bad, then you can start leaning into something better. You can start leaning constantly towards just enjoying being here. And eventually it becomes easier and easier. And then you start asking yourself, why on earth would I make myself feel bad about what this person did? I could still enjoy and then just choose to act accordingly. That doesn't mean you stay in a situation where someone is hurting you. Doesn't mean you say that what someone else did that you disagree with it was good. It just means that you're not controlled by the distortions or the suffering that you have inside of you. So understanding the why makes it easier to do this practice, because now you have a reason for actually really applying yourself to this, for taking it seriously, to see that this is part of the journey to make your life enjoyable. Not because you can communicate with other dimensions, not because you have experiences of your past life, or having some kind of blissful state that you drop into, or all the weird stuff that goes on when we meditate. But instead because we're doing exactly what the Buddha at least said to do, which was to train the mind, so that you can see how you're doing right now. To make this a little bit easier, we're going to do a technique where we count our breaths from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1. And I will do this together with you one time, and then you can continue by yourself. So breathing in and out. 1. In and out. 2. In and out. 3. In and out. 4. In and out. 5. In and out. 6. In and out. 7. In and out. 8. In and out. 7. In and out. 6. In and out. 5. In and out. 4. In and out. 3. In and out. 2. In and out. 1. Now keep counting your breath from 1 to 8, and then down again from 8 to 1 as you breathe in and out. 1. In and out. feel free to let go of the counting of the breath and instead pull your awareness to your mood right now. How are you feeling? Are you in a good mood? A bad mood? Maybe a neutral mode, somewhere in between. When I ask people to feel good, or to be in a good mood, almost everyone tends to think, okay, I'm going to make myself feel good. So I'm going to think about something I enjoy, then I will feel good. This is not what I mean when I say enjoy being alive. I mean the experience of life itself. We call so many things sacred. Marriage is sacred. Other people's lives are sacred. Children are sacred. Religion is sacred. Promises are sacred, and all kinds of things. But our own lives, well, it's not worth so much. We waste it on watching Netflix or completely just messing it up by taking drugs and doing weird things to our bodies so that we don't have to so we don't have to experience our life experience. But actually life itself is enjoyable. So I want you to just start looking at this. Don't try to do anything. Don't force yourself to do anything. You cannot push this. Instead, it's something that is there when you stop pushing against the whole world. There's a feeling of almost sizzling or like bubbling energy inside of you that just feels good, that is enjoyable. It is nice to feel. It is relaxing, it is calm, it's peaceful. It's completely without fear, without worry, without need to do anything or have anything. Just being alive as a child is as they lie in the arms of their parents and just look up and feel safe, warm. That feeling. You cannot make that happen by thinking of, oh, I have a cat in my, I have something that I enjoy holding and I like that experience, or I have a child that I'm holding, or I have $1 million in my bag. That's a feeling of enjoying something. I'm talking about enjoying life itself, this experience of life, to really touch that, to see that it's something sacred. It's such an incredible blessing, and as long as we have it, we take it for granted. But when we notice that it might end, then all of a sudden we want to hold on to it, experience it, appreciate it, do everything to keep it a little bit longer. Instead of doing all of this when you're coming to your life end, see if you can now for the last few minutes just look, what would it be like to enjoy life? Not by thinking of something enjoyable, but actually touching and enjoying life. What would that be like for you right now, right here? Thank you so much for another nice sitting, and I hope that you're able to start looking for what I'm talking about. This enjoyment of life. This shift from being so focused on what's happening to us or what we should or shouldn't have to enjoy life, but actually just enjoying being alive, which is really nice. It's quite remarkable, actually. I hope you'll have a good week, and thank you too, Nicole. It's nice to have you here, and it makes me happy to see people come back over and over and to just have more longer-lasting connections with people, because it makes it easier for me to go into more depth about things that I thought were too difficult to actually bring up like this on the stream. But I like it, so thank you. Have a great week, and I will see you all again on Thursday. Thank you.